Grippe XO Frugs. Like, not XO, but like, you know what I mean, like Grippe score versus Frug score for each of the replays. Anyways, spawning down here, we have in the bottom right side of the map, in the green, playing Zerg, it is Grippe. Or Grippe, sorry. And up here in the top left, we have in the pink, playing Zerg as well, it is Frugs. Now, Frugs has definitely been our upset player of the season. He's taken quite a lot of wins, actually, off of great players such as Riser and some other pretty good players. He beat XII as well. So definitely players that he was expected to lose versus. So I'm definitely interested to see what he can pull off in the upset matchup of upset matchups, being ZVZ. He currently has double the upset potential right now. And it looks like Frugs will be going for a pretty early pool here. Same with Grippe. I'm not sure if those are... Those clearly run identical pool timings, or else they'd have like the same supply. But yeah, pretty similar pool timings. And it looks like that both players will... I don't think Frugs skidded yet, but... Frugs did get skidded there, so he's pretty upset that his cheese was skidded. And Grippe looks like he has, or is going to be having the upper hand on this. He does have his own Zerglings back at home, and with Defender's advantage from holding that ramp, from having a higher production of Zerglings, since he's closer to home, I feel like he's going to be in a pretty good spot. We do have a Baneling Nest on the way though for Frugs. Spinecrawler being built in a mineral line as well, so it looks like Grippe is paying this a decent amount of respect. And we have enough speed on the way here for Frugs. We don't see anything of the sort here for Grippe. I don't see a Grippe. I always want to say Grippe. I know it's Grippe. That's how it should be said Englishly. But I want to say Grippe. Alright, so the Frug Zerglings are going to start picking away at this hatchery for just a second before Grippe's Zerglings come here and force him back. Or Grippe. And speed is now finished for Frugs, and he's going to surround some of Grippe's Zerglings here. He does have a couple Banelings to back this up, so Grippe's really going to be careful, or going to need to be careful of how he engages. And some of these Banelings going to get targeted down by these Queens. They're getting pretty close. One Baneling actually gets a huge detonation there. Almost all of Grippe's Zerglings to go down there. Luckily there's a Spore Crawler at the top of the ramp, and it will be able to kill some of the Zerglings here. But Frugs is in the mineral line, and he's going to start knocking down this worker count. We don't have too many more Zerglings currently on the field left for Frugs. And if these Banelings get close to finishing, they'll get some huge detonations on these Zerglings. Luckily some Zerglings from Grippe will spawn in time. They get rid of these Banelings. Not sure how I feel about this game in total though. Frugs did kind of try the opportunity to kill that natural base by running up into the ramp and killing some drones, and he did kill 3 or 4, which is good. But the fact is, Grippe does have a natural, and so that means he's going to have more production and more opportunities to mine. Whereas for Frugs, he's really not in the same boat. He kind of has to find some damage here. And I think this is kind of just what happens with how Grippe decided to play, where he just didn't get a Baneling Nest. The Spinecrawler is good and all, but it's not going to defend you everywhere. And I don't know if we have any more Banelings on the way. Looks like we will have some running in here, but they will be scouted by Grippe's Overlords there. They're going to start running up the ramp now, and Grippe is going to have to be very careful and give these Banelings the respect they deserve. Another Spinecrawler built down there in the bottom mineral line. Couple of Banelings getting picked off. Pretty decent connect there for one of the Banelings. And a new round of drones has been finished, so Grippe will be at a decent drone count. But still, he really has to be careful. And I think these Zerglings can actually pick away at this hatchery if they just keep working on it. A couple of these drones do get away. Some more Zerglings spawning here for Frugs, and still no Zergling speed from Grippe, so he really has to choose his engagements very carefully. I'm just not sure what Grippe is doing. Like, he's not mining any gas. He finally has an extractor started, but I feel like this is way too late. He's lost a hatchery. Frugs has his own hatchery up now. Frugs is a bit behind in drones at the moment, but I just feel like Frugs has everything he needs. And I'm really not liking this gasless opening here in ZVZ from Grippe. One of these spawn crawlers does get cut out as it tries to return itself to the main base. And there's only one more spawn crawler here. These Zerglings can get a really easy surround there. Not too many units here actually for Grippe, and I think Frog is actually going to take this game. Pretty poor Baneling connects in total. I feel like those Banelings could have been saved for later. But still, that's a lot of Zerglings, and Grippe just doesn't have the units to deal with those. Plus, he's only on the one base. He has a really nice Sim City though, which is his saving grace. A few roaches are on the way now, but still, versus the overwhelming amount of Zerglings we see here from Frugs, it's going to be pretty difficult for Grippe not to take too many losses here from these Banelings. Pretty big connects going down. Frugs is trading out a lot of Lings and Banes here for not a lot of value, but still, he's up in drones now. He has. Even though his attacks have been a bit inefficient, he still is managing to find some damage. And when you're on a higher drone count and a higher base count in ZVZ, like, that's fine. He doesn't need it to get anything else, really. And we will see an evolution chamber here for Frugs. Let's see if he decides to go for some melee upgrades, or maybe he's going to transition into roaches of his own. That natural base does get cancelled there by Frugs. Pretty unfortunate for Grippe. And even though he has these roaches, he can't do a whole lot with them. He doesn't have roach speed. He doesn't have any upgrades for them. They're just, all in all, not too scary right now. Again, yeah, I'm just really not sure what Grippe's plan is this game. Alright, Frog's getting a roach warren of his own now, and he is getting +1 melee though, and he will cancel that for armor. Good choice if he is going to go into roaches. Some of the roaches here in a good spot. They're going to force back these Lings, as I think Frugs knows he can't really fight these roaches, even though they are slow and don't have any attacks or attack upgrades. Still really can't afford to trade with those. And it just looks like to me like Frugs is just on a path to victory here. Grippe's natural got delayed for so long. I think it's just kind of Frugs needs to choose how he delivers the final blow here. Alright, so Frugs has seen those roaches heading in on the map here. And he moves in to counterattack at this base while those roaches are gone. He's pretty comfortable trading out these Lings and Banes. Like, he realizes that they're not the greatest asset to him at this point in time. And the longer he keeps Grippe at home, the better the situation he's in. As of course he is getting his own roaches, and they will have +1 armor by the time they get into a fight. So, I mean, it's just a simple numbers game at this point, I feel. I think Grippe is hoping that, of course, back at home, maybe Frugs has been macroing poorly, maybe Frugs wasn't paying attention, but Frugs has been. He has been macroing properly. He's been building the units he needs, and he's just gonna defend this. Pretty calm and collected here. This is going to be the slowest end of a game ever. Alright, so Frugs is going to start pushing up this ramp now. Decent concave at the top of the ramp with these roaches, but I think Frugs does have the numbers that he could brute force his way up if he wanted. Of course, he can also just go around. And this concave is a lot better to go up than this one. And Grippe just tried his hardest to hold on here. He finally has a lair, and he is starting roach speed, which Frugs does not have, but I'm not sure if that's going to finish before this game is decided. All of our Frugs roaches coming up here, they will start to pick off some of Grippe's roaches. Ravager does go down. These roaches are getting right on top of his opponents, and with the superior upgrade lead and the superior numbers lead, I think Frugs is just going to finish this game off. It's really well done by Frugs. I think, too, a lot of misjudgments from Grippe. Not exactly sure what he was going for, but regardless. Yeah, Frug is going to take game number 1 versus Grippe. And a fairly big upset. Alright, so we're loading into game number 2 here shortly. And this one's going to be on Accolade. So hopefully if we are going to see a macro ZVZ, this will probably be the map to see it on. But we have down here in the bottom left, we have the green playing Zerg. It is Grippe. And up here in the top right, we have our upsetter. In the top right, it is Frugs. I'm just going to change the stream title real quick here. Alright, so it looks like we will have a hatch first here from Grippe. Pretty ballsy actually, and even gonna do so on the low ground. Not sure how I feel about that. Looks like Frugs is actually gonna do the same thing as well. I mean, like, since both of them did it, it doesn't matter at this point. Like, there's nothing that can be done. The only real difference this game is we have Frugs going for a gas pool and then Grippe going for just pool. No gas just yet. Which again, I'm pretty interested to see. I'm not exactly sure what Grippe is going for with this this gasless start. Maybe just trying to see if he can make it work somehow. This drone's going to start heading across the map. Is he just going to take the watchtower? Oh. I was hoping he was going to build like a third base at like one of these. Thought that would have been really, really neat. And we will have a spine crawler built here at the front. I think this is to deal with any sort of early link shenanigans. Still, spine crawlers aren't the greatest in ZVZ because of their immobility. Especially in comparison to Zerglings. You know, it's really no big deal for a Zerg player to just flood, you know, a bunch of lings by a spine crawler, because the spine crawler will kill 1, maybe 2 lings. But like, you know, that's really insignificant compared to, how many lings you can get by them. At the very least, though, it does protect that hatchery, and it looks like Frugs is actually going to do the same thing with that spine crawler, I mean. But Frugs is going into a lair really quickly. Yeah, let's see what Frugs has in plan or in store here. And we will see an infestation pit. So yeah, I'm interested to see if he's going to be going for a Nidus play. I think that's what he's going for, right? There's no... Unless he's going for some like weird like infestor timing, which I don't think exists. Yeah, it's probably Nidus, especially with the fact that he's making some more queens. Definitely going to be a Nidus. Alright, so Grippe's getting his own layer up as well now. Believe we've seen a roach warren from Grippe being made somewhere. Yeah. So Grippe's probably going to be for a more... Oh, Ultra Nidus actually. I can't believe I didn't think about this. I'm not sure how this works in ZVZ. I feel like this will hit at a pretty late time. And especially with how easy it is to Overlord Scared if Grippe got speed. It'd be pretty easy for him to see that. And, you know, the units that he's gonna likely have out do okay versus Ultralisks. Like, if he had Roaches or Hydras out, he's gonna do okay. Not the best, but, you know, still okay. Guess it really depends on how many units Grippe has out at the time that the Nidus hits. I've never seen it in ZVZ, so I don't really know what the unit count should be like. Now we have Frugs saving up some of his money. Nidus Network is going down, and the hive is almost finished. Yeah, I'm really not liking the Nidus Network being built so early. I don't think you need to build it that early. I feel like you're perfectly fine getting it a bit later, because he still has to wait for the Ultra Cavern to finish. And you don't need that Nidus Network immediately. Like, I think that was a bit of a mistake, because that pretty much telegraphs to Grippe exactly what he's doing. And so if Grippe's smart, he's just gonna maybe build some... I guess he can't really build Hydras just yet, he doesn't have a Hydra then. But he's gonna be a bit more careful about which Overlords he lets get into his base. And, okay, yeah, I guess Grippe does have a Hydra then. He could build some Hydralisks and push stuff back. But of course, I think he does know what's coming. Because he's seen the Hive, he's seen the Nidus Network, and he's on this team. So he has heard about... Lurker Nidus before, not Lurker Nidus, sorry, Ultra Nidus. And Lurkers are a great response to Hydralisks. Or not to Hydralisks, sorry, to Ultralisks. And it's still going to be a while before we get this rush on the way, as of course Kindness Plating is going to take about a minute and a bit to build. And Frugs actually being a bit too conservative with this, in my opinion. And also being fairly early with it as well. Like, these Ultralisks haven't even finished. I think maybe he's just hoping to get the Creep Highway here connected. And just prod the waters here, whatever you want to say. Alright, that Lurker Cavern is almost done, so that means that we will soon have some Lurkers being morphed here on the field, but we do have a couple Ultralisks out already and a lot of Queens, and they have a lot of Transfused Energy banked up, so this still can be very scary for Grippe to deal with. And here we have one Queen actually getting picked off pretty much immediately, another one getting pretty low, a lot of damage going down into these Ultralisks, one goes down pretty much immediately, and Frugs really just needs to have these Queens constantly transfusing these Ultralisks, or else Grippe is just going to be able to out-micro them. And as we can see, with Kindness Plating not done, this is just so easy to kill these Ultras. Like, they have 0 armor upgrades. They're so weak. Finally, he will have Kindness done, and as you can see, that will lower the amount of damage he takes by just a bit. But still, it's just so easy for Grippe to be able to kite like these Ultralists on off creep, especially, and especially when he has the armor upgrade, or not armor upgrade, speed upgrade. No speed upgrade for Ultralists, unfortunately. And GG, well played is called, and Grippe gonna take game number 2. Alright, so we'll be getting into game number 3 shortly. Gotta log in. Alright, so next map gonna be Mech Depot. Alright, so we have here, winning our last game, down here in the bottom left in the green, it is Grippe. Now up here, we have in the top left, playing at, or top right, sorry. Did I say bottom right for the green? I'm so tired. Alright, so up here, starting as his Zerg player in the pink, in the top right hand corner, it is Frugs. There we go. And another pretty early pool. It's a good old 14 pool. And he's getting gas. So yeah, Frugs gonna be doing some more cheesery. Which of course makes sense. Obviously Grippe, sorry, is a GM level player. So ideally I don't think you really want to say, hey, do you want to just practice your mechanics on me? That'd be great. Like, you wanna use something that you get an advantage yourself in, like strategy or tactics. Because, you know, pretty much people in GM, like not everyone in GM, I would say, has like the greatest understanding of like the strategy or like the tactics of StarCraft. But pretty much all of them have like at least like the mechanics to be there. Whereas like, for example, Frugs, he might not have the mechanics, but he definitely has a lot of the strategy down pat. And like understanding of what he needs to do. He maybe just can't execute on the same level as someone else. Or of course, you know, sometimes you just get things wrong. You can't always be the best, what is the word? Just strategist? I don't know. You can't always be the best strategist. That's it. I'm retarded. You can't always be the best strategist all the time, you know. Sometimes you make wrong calls. And pretty interestingly from Grippe, actually sending out a drone to control this watchtower so early on. Guess he's probably expecting some more cheeses from Frugs. And the Frugs was banking up some of his Zerglings here. He's going to start sending those out right before that Overlord can spot them. And we still have some drones on the production tab here for Grippe. He will see these lings just now. So yeah, probably no more drones on the production tab for him. But he has a spine crawler building somewhere. He has actually, you know, one of them finished down there. And it has good surface area on it. With those Evo chambers beside it. So the lings won't get a full surround. But Frugs does have speed. These queens are blocking the ramp, so these lings won't be able to float on through. Yeah, this isn't looking too great for Frugs just yet. Now we do have a big train of Banelings coming in here now, and I'm not sure exactly what he's going to do with those. Accidentally crashes some of them into that Evo chamber. Some more drones coming in here, a couple Banelings connecting onto those. And a big hit onto those drones, but only a couple of them have went down in total. And Frugs is getting the hatch rate behind this, so he's He's really just hoping, I think, that he can get some more damage done, try to even things up a bit, but that's not looking too great. As we see, Grippe has a pretty dominant supply lead, especially in the worker count, and he is already on 2 bases, whereas Frugs, he's only on 12 workers here, mining minerals, and 2 on gas. So he's not doing so great. And especially one thing here I want to mention is just the SimCity from Grippe, Grippe is really nice. There's no way the lings can flood on through without having to spend the time to kill something. And that's just really good. That's going to make it so inefficient for Frugs to ever get in. And even if he does break through, say he kills that queen, runs some drones in, or lings in, maybe he kills 8 drones, let's say. Like, that's still not going to be efficient for him if he trades all of these units here for it. Even if he gets like the best connect, it's just not going to be efficient, regardless of how you look at it. And even now we have some roaches following this up, so this is really just looking very dire for Frugs. He's even cancelled his natural, I believe, unless they got killed somehow. So he just really wants everything to be committed to this final assault. Alright, so can Frugs do this? Can he somehow pull this off? Lings are going to run up here, poke for a second, and fall back. Alright, so we do have the Lings and Banelings running in here. All the Banelings are actually connecting on that Roach Horn, so they're not getting the greatest of trades there. And at the same time, we have these Lings not really doing the best job that they can here. There's just way too many Roaches out at this point in time. I just really don't feel like there's anything Frugs can do to finish this off. Like, yeah, you killed that Roach Horn, but not really much else he can do. And looks like Frugs agrees, and GG is going to be called. So now we have Grippe taking a 2-1 lead over our challenger here, Frugs. Alright, so we'll be loading into our next game here shortly. Game number 4. And it looks like we're going to be on Ascension to Ire. Alright, so we have here, spawning down in the bottom right side of the map, we have in a green. It is Grippe. And up here in the top left, we have Plan Zerga as well. It is our pink Zerg, Frugs. Alright, so another cheese build here for Frugs, going for a 11 pool, or 12 pool, however they say that. And let's see what Grippe decides to go for here. It looks like he will be going for a hatch first, so he might be a bit susceptible to getting cheesed out here. As of course, when you go for this early pool, you're going to have a decent amount of lings out, and they'll probably arrive at your opponent's base by the time that their pool has been about to finish, assuming that Grippe gets his up in relatively decent time. See, these Zerglings will be done when that spawning pool has about 25-30 seconds left on it. So by the time they hit or start attacking Grippe's base, he's only going to be just making his Zerglings. So that's still, a good 17 to 20 seconds before those Zerglings depending on how quickly the Zerglings of Frugs get there. But that's still a decent amount of time for Frugs Zerglings to start hitting away at his opponent's stuff. And they are going to take a lesser known path here. It'll take them a bit longer to get there, but I think ideally Frugs is hoping that this Overlord wouldn't exist. Because of course this Overlord should see those, and it's going to send some warning bells off in Grippe's head. Of course, if he hadn't said that Overlord there, he wouldn't have gotten vision of that, and he didn't drone scout either. But Grippe, he knows what to do. He's building that wall back up. And we have Sixlings here, starting to pick away at some of the stuff here. Really nice block here to stop the Lings from targeting down that Spinecrawler before it finished. They'll still get some decent surface area on it, and they might be able to kill it just in time, but it will be able to maybe be cancelled. Okay, so it does get one shot off, 2 shots before it dies. Still, that's a lot of bot time, and with Grippe playing drones, those 2 Banelings are so... Oh my god, oh... Huge Baneling connects there from Frugs, at least 7 or 8 drones there going down, and now Frugs has evened up the worker count and actually taken a slight lead. Of course, he doesn't have a base of his own, but still, he can't keep up with this aggression. He can still pump out some more units, and if he's lucky, he can pick away at some more drones. He only has a couple Zerglings and some Banelings poking up here. A lot of Lings there, actually, and a big hit on those Lings. Really efficient Baneling trades there. And even going to kill another worker. And Frog was really just doing a really good job here, causing quite some upsets. Alright, Frugs has his own base started here. And he's just going to continue to run in here with a couple Lings, couple Banelings. Looks like those Banelings aren't really going to accomplish too much here. They do kill some larvae, I guess there's that. But yeah, Frugs is still in a pretty good spot. I really don't feel like he needs to continue to find aggression. He can if he wants to. I think it's one of those things that you need to kind of judge what your opponent is doing. And Grippe is just now just only droning. So, but he is moving all the drones to the main base, so he's not going to lose too many of them down here. He still has some room for some more drones. And Frog's just continuing to be annoying as he humanly can. And he's actually trying to bust into the main, but Grippe has his units in position. Alright, so, like, as long as both players keep injecting normally and just keep droning, like, Frugs will still continue to maintain a small lead. But at the same time, Frugs also has the lead as far as map control goes. He has Zerglings on the map, he has a decent chunk of units, so really he's the one that's dictating the pace of this game, plus he's mining off his natural, so Frugs is in a pretty good spot this game. We'll have to see what Frugs decides to go for the rest of this game. We do have a Roach Warren coming down for both players. Frugs is going to finish just a bit before Grippe's. And plus Frugs does have access to more gas, because he has control over his natural. These Lings have been so key. They really just let Frugs know what the drone count is like. And the fact is, like, as we can see, Grippe is a bit oversaturated up here, so he's not mining as efficiently. Frog's taking a pretty good lead. Of course, Frugs is only on 1 gas right now, actually, so that's why he has doesn't have a gas lead. And we actually have a layer here on the way for Grippe, so Grippe might be just getting that for some good old roach speed. I don't think Grippe is going to try anything too crazy, although mutas would be an interesting choice to go for. And looks like we did have some Lings and Banelings just trading there versus I don't know what. Looks like they didn't have any kills, or at least the ones that survived. So probably no drones going down. Alright, so Frugs will start making some roaches now. He has a decent amount on the way right now. Yeah, things just aren't looking too great for Grippe. There's only so much that Micro and like game knowledge can do in this matchup, I feel. It's kind of very punishing mechanically and fundamentally. Where, you know, if your opponent just has too much more than you, even just like 4 or 5 more roaches, that can definitely spell the end of the game for you. Alright, so it looks like Frugs will start hitting it with his own roaches. Let's see what the well, 17 roaches to 5. 4 more here from Grippe, but 5 more from Frugs. And you can just kind of see how the economic benefit that we've had for so long has paid off. And accidental ping for myself. I'm the one doing it this time. And that's a lot of roaches streaming across the map. We don't have too many Zerglings following this up. Grippe has started +1 ranged, and he has his roach speed on the way, but there's just not really a whole lot of roaches here that can actually benefit from that. And it looks like we will have the start of the fight here. A couple of units getting bruised on either side, nothing going down just yet. And actually Grippe has droned a bit more than Frugs in this situation, but he doesn't have a third base going up. Meanwhile Frugs does. A big corrosive battle actually landing on some of these roaches. As long as Frugs can end this quickly, he will be able to take a lead. But he really has to be careful the longer this fight goes on. That means the better that Grippe will be in, because he has more drones, he has his roach speed, and he will have +1 shortly. So Frugs really has to punish him now, while he has the numbers, while he has the advantage. That Spine Crawler is so low. Looks like it will finally get picked off there, doesn't get transfused in time. Looks like one of those Raptors about to be targeted down. Grippe does pull to the back. Frugs has a really great concave here though, and I just don't think that Grippe has enough units to really fight this out. I'm not sure if Grippe should have maybe just waited until he had his +1 finished. Looks like Frugs will start taking this fight. We do have more reinforcement roaches coming down from the main base here, but Lings are on the way here. And those Lings are targeted right out of that Raptor. Really nicely done from Frugs. Nice spur of the moment decision. And he will pick it off that Raptor, and now some of the drones are starting to go down. And +1 range has finished, but that doesn't really matter too much at this point. Drones are dying. There's not enough roaches here to deal with this, and I think Frugs will be able to take game number 4, bringing this to game number 5 pretty shortly here. Very surprising turn of events here. Definitely didn't feel that Frugs was going to be able to take a single game off of Grippe, let alone 2. And yeah, it looks like Frugs is continuing to kill some of Grippe's roaches. Grippe does have +1, so I think he's hoping that eventually he can find some equity from that. Maybe trade out enough, even though his economy is on the worst spot now. But yeah, I don't really think that's going to turn out too well. So it looks like Grippe's roaches will start to overpower some of Frog's roaches. We do have some Zerglings here backing up Frog's roaches. So Grippe has kind of stabilized. Not sure for how long, because he is still 15 workers behind, and that's a pretty big amount of workers to be behind in. Frog still hasn't started any ranged upgrades or armor upgrades for that matter for his roaches. I don't even think he has an Evo Chamber, but still, Frugs has a pretty good economic advantage here. As long as he keeps up with his injects, he's going to be just fine. And a lot of these roaches from Grippe were very weakened from the fight before, and he just doesn't have enough roaches, even with an upgrade advantage, to push through Frugs' continuing onslaught of roaches. And I accidentally pinged again. I bet. That always happens when I go to Alt-Tab while I'm still obsing. Alright, so looks like these roaches will continue to keep fighting here, but this is a numbers game, and Frugs, he has some good numbers. And with all these dang overlords in the way, I can't see anything. And finally, it looks like this game should be decided here. I feel like there's just way too many roaches at this point for Grippe to ever clean them out. And GG is called, and we're going to be going into game number 5. Alright, so this is going to be our final game of the night. I'm not going to be casting the rest of the round of 8 today. Maybe another day. I do have to work for until next Wednesday, I think. Alright, so final game is going to take place on Odyssey. Oops. Okay. What? Okay. So we have here, spawning up in the top left, we have an agreed. It is Grippe. And down here we have our XII pink Zerg player. It is Frugs. Can Frugs cause an upset? Can he do it? Will this cheese be his last? And will Grippe go for another hatch first? It looks like he is. Like, I appreciate the balls in Grippe to just continually go hatch first every single game. He is a Marine King Zerg. Especially with, like, Frugs went for another 14 pool, I believe, so, like, this is going to be pretty annoying again, unless Grippe can use his amazing macro. I don't know which all-in he's referring to. I assume he's talking about, like, a 14 pool. But yeah. Alright, so yeah, they're just chatting a bit. This actually brings up a good point about like players like Serald stomping like a 14 pool. Like I can't remember what Zerg gives against. I think it was True in the global finals where True 14 pulled him, and he just like held it off completely with like only drones. He didn't even lose a drone. It was like so nuts. I don't know how Serald does it. Serald's an absolute beast. Alright, so it looks like we have the first 6 links coming in here, and they will get pretty lucky and find a drone here on the low ground. Luckily that drone will just barely manage to get away here, and these lings are going to start fighting. Couple of lings for Grippe going down. This is looking kind of sketch. Frog's doing a pretty good job trading, but there is a spine crawler to go down in the main base now. Frog's kind of missed an opportunity there. I feel like he could have gotten a lot of damage on that queen if he just targeted immediately, but unfortunately not able to do so. Meanwhile, we have a couple Balians morphed in here. But still, this is going to be pretty tough. There's a queen at the top of the, or on the high ground there, and we have a spine crawler as well. Queen on the low ground as well too. So this is looking pretty bad for Frugs now. Grippe didn't have many drones at the natural, so he didn't actually lose anything when Frugs took control of it. And Frugs decided to go up into the main and try to get some more damage. I feel like the safe play would have maybe just been for Frugs to get rid of this hatchery while he still could. But now Grippe has a decent amount of Zerglings. He has 3 queens. 4 queens. Yeah, 4 queens actually. Sorry, one of them just went down in the natural. But still, he's going to be okay. With this amount of queens and lings, Grippe is perfectly fine. Unless these Banelings get the biggest connections of their lives, which could very well be possible. That's a lot of lings, and they're not looking in great shape. Really good detonation goes off. Decent one there. And, oh my god. This really good detonations from those Banelings, but there's not enough Zerglings to follow that up. And with 2 queens left over, plus a 3rd one about to pop, even a 4th one being made in the main, and just continued link production from Grippe, I think he's going to be fine. I think he's held this. More Balians here, being morphed by Frugs. Frugs is pretty down in supply as far as worker count goes. He's 3 drones now, and Grippe is making more, going all the way up to 21 drones. And it looks like more drones are just going to be on the way. I think Grippe feels pretty confident. He's moving that Spine down to the low ground just in time as we do have another swirl of Zerglings coming in here. Spine not going to be put down quite fast enough, but it will be there to help out. These drones trying to get away. A lot of them getting bunched up in the corner now, and a decent amount of drones are going down. But still, the drone count's still pretty favorable for Grippe, even though he did lose some drones there. Frugs just didn't do enough damage at the start of this game to really set the pace, and every attack from here on out I feel like is going to get less and less value. And as we can see there, really nice wall made here by Grippe. 3 queens and a spine crawler. That's going to be a lot of range damage there to prevent any of these Zerglings from breaking down that wall, unless Frugs wants to crash like 8 Balians into it, which I would not recommend. Alright, so... And we even have a Roach Warren here, starting for Grippe. So once Grippe gets that Roach Warren down, he should be pretty much perfectly fine versus this. I don't really know what Frugs has up his sleeve. I think he's just going to continue to try to bust down this wall, try to get in, do some damage. But the sheer amount of queens and the wall itself here, I feel like this is going to be very tough. Bunch of Balians crash down on that wall. A bunch more crash on the queen, which does get promptly transfused. So really just not looking good for Frugs here. They will get 1 drone for compensation, I guess. And they did kill the spine crawler. But still, just not the greatest amount of damage, even though Frugs has been droning a bit behind this as well. It's just still not looking good. His tech is not where he wants it to be. As you can see, Grippe obviously has a Roach Warren. I'm not sure if he has a lair. No. But still, he's been mining for much longer with more drones, and he's on a higher tech. So Grippe is fine. He has no man to fear. Frugs doesn't look like he's going to be causing an upset tonight. But of course, Frugs is still in this game, so you never know what might happen. Finally, layer does get started here for Grippe, as well as +1 missiles. So probably just going to be going into a pretty normal Roach game here. Yeah, not much I can really talk about now. Looks like Frugs is trying to get up his own for... Oh. I guess they crashed when they were playing that. Okay, well, interesting. Alright, so one Zergling of Grippe does get in, and it will scout out pretty much everything here in the main of Frugs. And he's actually going to hide behind that gas and go back in for a kill. Can he get anything? Doesn't look like it. Frugs accidentally targeted his own drone for a second. That would have been pretty funny if he accidentally killed one. But yeah, Grippe is just in a great spot. He has the Hydra Den coming down. Frugs' lair is only now just started, so he's pretty far behind. Upgrades are going to keep rolling here for Grippe. Look at that production tab. More drones being made here for Frugs. But yeah, still pretty dire situation here. Even just look at like the army tab, you can see how like Frugs has pretty much no units right now. Like he has 2 Balians and that's it. Because he knows he needs to just try to get as many drones out as he can, so he can catch up on the economy in some way. And it actually looks like he's going to be going into Spire, which I kind of like. I definitely feel like that's a nice way that you can possibly sneak a game off someone. Unfortunately, it looks like Grippe is going for a Hydra Den, so he will have a response. It's not going to be just pure Roach, which Spire is fine versus. Roach Hydra is going to be much harder for him to deal with. And that's assuming that Spire even finishes, as we do have a huge move out here from Grippe. A lot of Roaches heading across the map, and we don't really have too much here for Frugs. Some Spire Crawlers have been started in natural, in a pretty good spot. And a nice attempt here to set up a concave, but just not enough units to fill this out. And Frugs' units are just not as beefy as Grippe's are, as he does have +1. +2 is on the way as well. So, got a lot of reinforcements here actually from Frugs trying to fill this out, but more and more units are streaming across the map here from Grippe. He's taking really good trades here, going to kill all these Roaches, and he's going to push on towards the third base, it looks like. A couple drones going down. Not sure if Grippe knows about the Spire. If he did, maybe he would change his mind about where he's hitting, but hitting the third base right now is just fine. All these drones trying to evacuate. Third base is going to go down 100%. No way to save that now. And that means the economy here is looking pretty bad here for Frugs. He doesn't really even have enough money to build too many Mutalisks. Only 2 out on the field, or being built on the field now. And meanwhile, we have some of these reindeer Hydralisks being built. What's they look like to me? It's reindeer. But still, this is just a huge amount of roaches that Grippe has. So there's just... I don't see any way in which Frugs takes this. He has a couple mutas, but like... I don't think 6 mutas can do enough damage to end the game here. But looks like Frugs is gonna try anyways. I don't blame him. I mean, this is the round of 8, so yeah. So you gotta give it all you can. And no Spore actually at this base, and I don't know if these Hydras don't have speed just yet. So these Hydras are going to be pretty slow. But at the same time, there's just not enough Mutalisks to do like too much damage before they have to leave. I'd love to see them go back and take out that base. I'm not sure if they've seen it. And I think Frugs realizes what's up. GG well played is called. And looks like Grippe gonna take this series in a pretty closely fought one, going 3-2 with Frugs. Definitely almost quite the upset setter, or quite the upsetter there. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me tonight. Thanks for watching, everyone. I appreciate it. Have a good night.